afternoon. Welcome back to Live Shopping here at Highlight Crafts. Just had a fabulous 2 hours with the lovely Mark from Pinflair and Silvar Designs. Make sure you tune into his shows, because if you think it's just jewellery and you're like, no, jewellery's not for me. Got a whole range. We've had alcohol inks on, we've had little pearl paints on, glitters, all sorts of fabulous stuff. So if you missed it, you can watch it back on liveshopping.vip. He's also brought you some really good deals too. And speaking of good deals, we've got one for you today. So we're going to show you what we did at 8 o'clock this morning. So we're going to go down the counter and then we're going to focus on the SVG files for this hour as far as demonstration is concerned, because a lot of you are now choosing to buy digitally, which is really cool, right? I'm really happy about that because it means you get better value for your money. So you can watch us on YouTube, you can watch us on Facebook and Instagram, and also on highlightcrafts.com, which is our website. If you're shopping with us on Facebook or Instagram, it's very simple. I'm going to show you a product and that product will have been allocated its own code. So for example, Shop Bundle will get you all the 2 Red Robins dies and the Minecraft Studio artwork. So if you want that, you're just going to type Shop and Bundle into the comments underneath the video, so you don't need to miss a second of what we're doing, which is great. I love that. I love that you can shop while you watch. That's got rid of the biggest bugbear of mine that I've had for 20 years, driven me crazy. So we've eliminated that. If you're shopping on the, you'll then get a message to your social media inbox if you're shopping on Facebook or Instagram that will say thank you for your order. And in that message will be a link. You're going to click on that link when you're ready and that will take you to checkout. Now you do have till 8:30 to check out tonight. Sorry, 8 o'clock. Where did I get 8:30 from? It's never been 8:30. Wow, need to eat. 8 o'clock tonight, but that doesn't mean you have to wait till 8 o'clock tonight, because last weekend I lost a pair of boots that I'd had my eyes on forever, £130 saving, and I lost it because I dithered. And it got nicked out of my basket, so please don't let that happen. If you're shopping on the website, you can use the shop codes if you like, or you can just drop the products into a basket, which you do by clicking on it. Super simple. Then you're going to get a little red basket appear in the top right hand corner. When you see that and you're ready to check out, click on that basket. All your goodies will be in there ready, and then you just go through that checkout process. Before you check out, please log in. If you haven't opened an account with us here at Highlight Crafts yet, please do so, because it's free. But what happens then when you log into your account is you get all the club benefits, which is super. All right, so that's the housekeeping done. First of all, I'm going to introduce you to Alan. Love that name for a dog. And his little, where he lives. So Stephanie's story is that Alan lives in this lovely little hamlet that's hidden deep in the English countryside. He's Pip's best friend, so Pip the Robin. There's about 6 or 7 little cottages here and there, and he goes to every one of them to get fed, because he's a little monkey. So he sits at the front door like that, going, with those big puppy dog eyes, please feed me, and they all do. So he's put on a little bit of girth, as our Alan, but he's fabulous. So first of all, we're going to give you all the elements to build your scenes, right? So your first one is garden gate. You're getting 3 die cuts on this. So you get the background image, which is the rectangle. You then get the garden gate that then cuts out of a reflection sheet. You then also have these 2 little pots, because dies are costed on the amount of metal. So we might as well use as much metal as we can. And we could fit in these 2 half pots, which work perfectly with that gate. So you can then open the gates up if you want, just by scoring it, or you can just build up the layers. It depends how much you want to put on your card. So that's your garden gate. You get 3 die cuts, this one, that one, and that one, but you also get that background image, all right? Your next one, this is lovely, is Love 'em or Leave 'em. We're very impressed with Sophie today. Not only is she our producer for this hour, got Amber on cameras, but she's also given these some names, which we love. Love 'em or Leave 'em, which is all your little pots full of your flowers, from the teeny tiny ones to the tall slim ones, traditional plant pots there, and then almost like one of those plastic baskets that you get, your hanging baskets in there as well. So that is Love 'em or Leave 'em. Alan, here he is, little Alan. Look at him, he's absolutely fabulous, and he's got a little bee just landed on his nose, and I love him. He's such a little sweetheart. He goes all over that little hamlet. He goes into the fields, chats with the robins, has a get together with Kingston Merriweather, the little geese. And he's just well known in that area for being a little, proper little helpful soul, I think we're going to call Alan. So that's Alan. These are all available individually. If you want just the dies by themselves, so everything I'm showing you now, it's shop Rose and it's $69.99. However, your better deal is to buy the dies and the Micro Studio, which is shop bundle. That is $75.99. You've got a £9.94 saving on a brand new launch, which is super exciting. Now, dies like this are some of my favourites because they're grounding elements. They build up the foreground of your story, and I think these are absolutely delightful. So you've got all these little rocks here, these boulders, just with the wildflowers popping through here and there. All your little characters, your little robins, your little blue tits can all sit on top of here, as can Alan. So you can have him sat on there if you want, or you can have him running past them or hiding behind them or popping out from the side of them. But I love grounding elements because they give the characters a place to play. Then we've got this. Now, this is one of my favourites in this collection because you're paying for these 3 pieces of metal. But look what you can create with this. Is this you, Amber? Amber. Look at Amber. She's getting amazing. Well, she's very talented. She just doesn't want to come in front of the cameras, which we'll get her there eventually. We will. We'll get you. Honestly, we'll persuade you eventually. So you're buying that much metal, but look how beautiful that is. I mean, that down the side of a card. Think about your lift and lock dies. Maybe you've got those. So your lift and lock oval could come round here, or your rectangle. This part's dealt with. That part's dealt with because you've got the pattern. Sentiment in the middle. Job done. Love that. I think that's a really versatile die and one that you're going to come back to time and time again. So that's your climbing rose. And then last but by no means least, we've got our flutterbies, which are just stunning. Look how beautiful they look, just with those little elements of those roses behind. These are fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And look how Amber's built up those different layers in your butterflies. Flat glue down here, dimensional glue over there. Really, really lovely. I mean, that on a card front with a sentiment, that's it, job done. You don't need to do anything else, do you? Right, so those are all your dies. If you want just the dies by themselves, shop Rose, $69.99 gets you 6 sets of dies, okay? Right, I'm going to try and put those in there nice and carefully. Right, let me grab the MCS, the Minecraft Studio for you, because if you buy shop bundle, you're going to get the Minecraft Studio included. Now, if you're an SVG customer, I'm just going to jump ahead and tell you that it's shop SVG, it's $17.99. Please add Minecraft Studio in because it'll be the best £10 you spend it today. We've got loads of different elements on here, which is super, and the two work perfectly together. So, love them or leave them. You've got all your digi-stamps here. So you've got the flowers by themselves, the flowers in the pot, and the pot by itself. And that works all the way down this page. So if you wanted to make these bigger, smaller, flip them, rotate them, do all those amazing things that we do with Micro Studio. So that's your first page of digi-stamps. If you're a colour-innerer, these are going to be great. Then you've got all your garden gate. So you've got it with the gate and without the gate. You've got the half gate here. You've got the corner that can be hanging down or growing up. You've got the wildflowers in the corners. You've even got the little lamppost or the lamp sign from the garden gate. You've got all your pots and all your florals separately as well, which is great. Then we also got on to Alan. I mean, look at him. You've got him with the little bee and without the little bee. These remind me, and they're nothing to do with this. I need to make that very, very clear. But if you ever saw some of the original Disney designs that Walt Disney drew or his team drew, and they're all sketchy, it's that kind of look and feel. It's like the beginning of the journey where you get that line art in and then you add the colour and then you add the animation. I think that it's just spectacular. You've even got the little bee. Now, of course, that's been blown up so that you can see the quality of the image, but you can have that tiny as my little fingernail if you want because it's digital. Then you've also got your little flowers, your climbing rose on here. You also, the great thing about buying Minecraft Studio is that you get all the different colourways as well. So instead of having to go online and buy the extra colourways for £1 a download, you're getting them included. So actually, by the time you're finished, you're probably not paying for it. Love them or leave them again. You've got all these pots also broken down. Look how the rocks have been broken down for you. So you can put them in different places, different situations, different characters. We've also got, missed that one, we've got another Digistamp there with the rose and the rocks. So that's that bit. I'm going to just move that to the back because I've got these a little bit mixed up. So bear with. It's one of them days today. It's always one of those days. Right, reflections. So you can see here, this is your scene. And then these are your garden gates. So you've got the open element there. These are all the pieces that you're going to print off at actual size. Now, just to show you what I was meaning, that is your original colourway. That's what you would get included with those sets. That one, and that one are different colourways, as is that butterfly. So you've got £4 worth of value there just by not having to download those extra colourways, which is super. And then you've also got Alan in there and You Rock, which is just brilliant. Then we go on to these. Now, these are absolutely invaluable. These are your scenes, your window to the story, your starting point, your background, and it's just a lovely way to introduce the recipient of your project to this collection. They are stunningly beautiful. I love these backgrounds. And whenever we have backgrounds like this, get them because they'll work with all your other Two Red Robins. Look how stunning these are. That pop of colour, that blue sky that we need to bring inside at the moment because it's very dull and very cold and very grey. And we want to bring in that sunshine. So you've got all of those. You've also then got your textures, so your colours. And these are fabulous. These are quite distressed. So outdoor, organic, that kind of look. We colour pick these from the coloured artwork that Max does for us, the digitally coloured artwork. I have to say, I don't think I've ever seen anybody colour like Max. He is phenomenal at what he does. And then we colour pick from those colours. So you don't have to go to your stash and go, that green will do. You've got exactly the colour of green. Then we go on to our scene building elements, and this is where it starts to get really creative because you've got all your containers, you've got all your flowers separately, and then you've got all your flower containers with your flowers in. So you can build as much or as little as you want. You've then also got the garden gate, so with the foliage, with the gate, without either, which is brilliant. You've also got your half pots. Remember those dies that we brought in before, the half ones. You've got your corner elements in there as well. You've got all your butterflies in all those different colours. You've also got your roses up here with your different colourways in there as well. Then you've also got the You Rock in there too. Love 'em or leave 'em. And then, of course, we had to give you Alan and the little bumblebee and all the different colourways that you've got in here as well. So amazing value for money. Stephanie actually sat there this morning and went, blimey, you're getting a lot of MCS for the $9.99, aren't you? I was like, yeah, you are. So, deal. All right, if you want Micro Studio by itself, it's shop MCS and it's $9.99. Right, let me introduce you now to the SVG files. So, when we do these, Sophie will convert the die design to a scalable vector graphic, which means that you can resize them. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. But what we do is get as much out of those files as possible. So we give you everything that you've just seen in dies, but we give it to you in 3 different sizes just to get you started. You can resize your reflections at your print settings. So if you've got an A3 printer, you can go over 100%. If you've got a A4 printer, you can go smaller, which is just fabulous. But there's also a way in Micro Studio that you can make a single image, any size that you want, and create a cutting file. So we'll talk about that later on. So you're going to get 3 different sizes just to get you started. So you'll always get the original, which is the size that the die cut would have been. You then get a smaller and a larger version, or a larger and an extra large, depending on what the image calls for. You then get your detail lines. So you can foil your reflections with your detail lines. You can draw your images. You can emboss them. So if you got the embossing starter kit yesterday with that fabulous parchment that we put into the bundle, now you can emboss all these and put your colour in behind. So if you love the look of that vellum, absolutely you can do that. You can draw them with your regular universal pen holder. So if you're drawing them onto something that's slick, you want a permanent pen. If you're drawing on something that's water-based, you're going to use like a regular micron pen. You're then also going to get the reverse of all the reflections as well as the regular reflections, so you can flip them or put them back to back or create symmetry. You're then also going to get all the different colourways that we've done, just as standard, And then what they also do is go in and snip the images. So they create decoupage layers for you. So you don't need to cut those out and then start snipping in and have bits that are wasted. You absolutely don't need to do that. You can do it because we've given you all those decoupage layers. So if you want that, that's shop SVG $17.99. I would highly encourage you to add a Minecraft Studio into that basket, because then you're getting all the backgrounds, you're getting the colour picked images, you're getting the digi-stamps, you're getting all of that fabulous artwork. And the two work perfectly hand in hand. Okay, so that's your shop SVG, we'll get you that one. Shop MCS will get you the Minecraft Studio. Right, let's whiz down this counter and then we can get into some demos. Thank you, everybody, for all your messages. We've got, I love meerkats. I need to know what you're talking about now. I love that. Every time I hear Alan, I keep thinking of the comedy shows with the meerkats. All right, I've got it. Yeah, absolutely. Isn't that fabulous? So you've got all of these lovely people. Thank you for joining me. I'm on my own. They keep leaving me on my own. They're not learning the lesson, are they? At all. Quite funny. Right. Just before we go into these, Amber, I'm going to get you to come round and have a look at these samples because you need to see what our design team have done. Thank you to Kath and Lou. They've done some fabulous, fabulous projects. So it can be as much or as little as you want it to be. These are just, leave them out all year round. This is a really lovely one. Look, the Alan's nowhere to be seen, but using that small lift and lock element in the middle just really highlights that sentiment. Using the little pots to create a wreath, and then also using the roses to go around the outside edge. I think that's really unusual, really cute, really different. Look, one of them here, I think this might be Kath, has put the little butterfly on his nose, and he is just slightly cross-eyed, isn't he? Because he's like, oh, what's on the end of my nose? So I think these are just fabulous. Easel cards, tags, nowhere to be seen is Alan there. He's off chattering away to Pip in the fields. And that box frame is just delightful. Now you can buy the frames, they're flat packed and you can make them yourselves, or you can go and buy an inexpensive one for somewhere like the Range, something like that will sell box frames like that. Right, my lovelies, let's go through this and then we can get into demonstration. So we've got 10 sheets of our construction weight acetate. Actually, when you pick this up, you expect it to be quite light. It's heavy, and it's heavy because it's a really thick construction weight acetate. It's a brilliant product. If I bring in a card like this, the construction acetate has just been used at the back. This is by our lovely Lou Patton. Just been used at the back to create that stand, which then gives that gate strength, okay? So lots of different ways of using it, but one of the best ways that I love is creating stands with it, but also, look at this one. This is really clever. This is another one of our, no, it's Kath, this one. She's created this little tube, if you like. This little box doesn't have an end on here or an end on the other one, so it's just scored in 4 different places and then folded round to glue. And she's created that so that what she can then do is come down. So if we have a look in here, look, you can see we've got all these little workings going on inside here. And I love that. So think outside the box. It also brings the bottom steps forward. So you've got all this depth and dimension going on, but you're not having to build it up with lots and lots and lots of glue using the construction weight acetate. Also like this. So you've got the little butterflies just fluttering about. Great, great product. You can cut it on your scan and cut. It takes a few cuts, but absolutely it goes through because I've done it. So if you want that, that is Shop Acetate. It's $11.99 for 10 sheets. If you want to print on shrink plastic, printable shrink plastic, game changer. Imagine Alan as a key charm, or a little necklace, or a pair of earrings. Honestly, just lovely. So we've got clear, which actually isn't clear, it's frosted. So you're going to print on the frosted side on this one. Okay, so you'll see it's almost like it's been sanded back and given a key. So that's your Shop Clear, $12.99. You get 5 sheets in there. And then your next one is Shop White. And you've got 5 sheets in here, white. Doesn't matter on the white which side you print on. So that's important. Works on inkjet and laser printers. So it doesn't matter what kind of printer you've got. You can use it on both of those, which is just fabulous. So Shop Acetate, Shop Clear, yep, Shop White, I had to check. A couple of top tips if you're doing shrink plastic is if you're going to die cut it, make sure that you use the fundamental die because otherwise the detail die is going to put all those cut lines in, and as it shrinks it's going to really warp. So use the outside edge die. You can always go around with a grey pencil and make that image pop where the white is. If you're going to put a hole in it, make sure the hole's big enough, because the hole will shrink as well when you shrink it down. I like to work in a tray with either a metal tray or a piece of tin foil in the bottom of a tray, because the heat, when you heat it up, the heat reflects back off the metal foil and it helps it shrink more evenly. And the other thing that's a really good tip is if you use something like talcum powder or corn flour and just a very light dusting over the shrink plastic on both sides just before you heat it, because then what happens when it shrinks and it goes into itself, it doesn't stick. Okay, it opens itself back up again, which is fabulous. So lots of hints and tips with that. Right, let's go and do some cutting, shall we? And then we can build a project, because I've got lots to teach you. How long have I got? I've got loads of time. That's brilliant. Right, so what I've done is pop the USB into my computer, and I've chosen from the Rose Garden the climbing rose and the reversed reflection. Now there's no size on this piece of paper, which tells me it's the original. If it's different to the original, it will give you a size on the paper. You have to print them off at 100% or actual size, okay? It doesn't work if you do fit to page. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a proper tickle this morning. Right, so I've got it pressed down on here. I've lined it up to the top left corner. You can line it up anywhere on your mat. Just make sure it's straight. Sorry, I just have to have a little sip of my tea, otherwise I'll be coughing all the way through the show. Right, so I've put the USB now. So it's a digital download. No postage. Instant. You can be crafting with it this afternoon. As soon as you've checked out your basket and you've downloaded it, you can be crafting with it. So you're then saving your postage as well, which is fabulous. And you don't have to wait, which is a great thing. I've popped mine onto a USB. You don't have to. You can import them into Canvas Workspace from your downloads and then send them to your machine if that's what you want to do. I just like to have them on USBs. So we're going to retrieve the information from the USB, okay? And we're going to find climbing rose. So you've got your detail cuts, your matte cuts, and your reflections. So if we go into reflections and we go into the original size, second colourway, all right, so that's where you'll find your different colours. That won't open on your scan and cut because it's not an SVG file. Your decoupage layers and your reflection. So we're going to click on the reflection. We're going to wait for that to load, and then we're going to group this together. So we're going to edit, multiple select, everything that's on the mat, so all of it. Press OK. We go back to editing the object and we group all that together. So now I can move that as one piece. Now I know a lot of you have seen this before, but we've had a lot of people buy scan and cuts in the last 2 weeks when we did that amazing deal. So I'm going back to the beginning because that's the right thing to do. Right, I'm just going to move these over here. Sorry, I'm going to just pop that flat down there. Right, so loading your mat, really important. You're going to go in between that ledge there and that ledge there. You're going to put your mat into there. Don't bend your mat, just keep it flat, all right? I know you sit there and it's like digging in here and then you're doing this. Just honestly, make sure you load your mat properly. It's not worth the risk. So we're going to put those up to there under those rollers. Keep hold of it while you press load mat, which is this button here. And it's got an arrow going in and an arrow coming out. That tells me that the button is load and unload, okay? Don't just go pulling the mat out at the end because you'll strain the rollers. All these little tips that you've learned, you see, because I've made all the mistakes. Keep pressing OK till you get to this little symbol here. This is your scanner. And we're going to scan in because this machine has a 300 DPI brother scanner built in. There's no other machine on the market that does what this does. Now you imagine sitting at home with a computer screen and the cutting file on the screen, this on your mat and no way to line them up. This is why I will never buy a machine that doesn't have a scanner in it, because it just makes such a difference. We're going to edit because we're changing it. We're going to zoom in to 200%, which tells me that. And then we're going to zoom in again to 400%. And all you need to line up now is the red corner of that rectangle with the black corner of the rectangle that's on your artwork, okay? And then we're just going to nudge this across like so, all right? And then I can go down. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm going to come out and you're going to go, well, that doesn't line up. No, you're right, it doesn't. Because this is a reversed reflection. So to make it work, we're going to go to Object Edit and we're going to flip that image. And now it lines up perfectly. So I can see here I've got a little bit of room there. I'm going to nudge that over one more space, okay? So super, super easy to line up. Now, I only want to cut that one. So the quickest way to just cut one is to, and this is the important bit, you have to remember to do this bit, otherwise it doesn't work. Go back to editing the object, ungroup it, and tap the screen to release the shapes, okay? Keep one of the, so the piece that I want to keep is that one. So I'm going to drag over that one and keep these two. So we're going to multiple select part of the map this time. So we're going to go part of the map, we're going to drag over what we want to keep, and I've made sure that one of the pieces that I'm getting rid of is selected, okay? So one of these here is selected. Press OK, that's going to select all of that for you, and then you can pop that in the bin and press OK. The other thing I'm going to get rid of is the rectangle, because otherwise when I come to cut the other two out, I'm not going to have that line up. And then all we're going to do is keep pressing OK till we get to please select and cut and start, and in less than 3 minutes it will have cut that out. But while it's cutting that out, you're crafting, right, which is super, super, super cool. So I'm going to grab these pieces that I've cut out already, and I'm just going to move up here, Amber, if that's all right, just because that can be cutting while I do a little bit of a demo here. So I'm going to talk you through the exact process that I did, and then I'm going to show you what I did, okay? Love this. I love the fact that I get all this time. It's so exciting. Let me just grab my glue and my pin flare glue and my tapes and everything else that I've got stuck down here. Honestly, I've got so much stuff going on, but I love it. It's like I just pick up my craft desk and bring it in here. It's so exciting. Right, so I'm going to start with one of the backgrounds, okay? So you can make a rectangle if you want to. You can use the reflection rectangle that's in there rather than bringing one on and resizing. And I just cut it out, and then I went round the edge with a brown marker. So if you look at the edge here, you can see I've just gone in, and that almost puts like a mount around the picture. If you have one without it and one with it, you'll see a big difference, okay? Then what I did was I used the outside rectangle, and I used one of the circle actually that's inside the machine's memory, and I resized it. So I decided what size aperture I wanted, and I resized it accordingly. So I'm going to show you that bit next, all right? And then we're going to align it, so then we've got a frame. We're also left with an oval, which could be another card if you wanted it to be, or this is what we're going to do. We're going to build this up into the scene, okay? So let's do that while that's cutting. So I'm just going to use a little bit of a deeper foam tape on here, just for the beginning, like this. I'm just going to pop a little bit of this on here and then get that backing off. Look at that. Blimey, this is good today, getting the backing off. Now, if you're like me and you like things straight, but you're not very good at doing it first time, that'll be me then. Put a little bit of wet glue on top of your 3D foam, okay? And then choose one point. So I'm looking at this point here where that lamp is. And I'm lining it up, and I'm having a look and making sure that that lines up. Then I'm also looking at the steps at the bottom. Okay, so I'm looking at the lines on the steps down here, following that round to the arch there, and then when I'm confident with it, I can press it down. Then I've got this one, which I want to be a little bit deeper still, okay? So I'm going to put a double layer of foam on here. So using a thinner foam this time, because I might want to tuck things into the aperture. So I don't want the tape right up to the edge, but I do want a nice deep finish to it, all right? So I love this tape because it's terrible. You'll find stuff like this on our website, which is really cool. And don't forget as well, we also have liveshopping.vip now, which gives you the brand shops from our suppliers. So people like John or Mark, who's been in this morning, or Jamie or Sarah or Natasha, all of those different people that come in. You can go on liveshopping.vip now. Please follow us on our social pages so we keep you up to date with what's going on. But it means that when they disappear, when they leave the building, unlike us, who we don't feel like we ever leave the building. Someone said to me the other day on one of Stephanie's painting classes, do you lot ever go home? And I'm like, occasionally, a few hours, sleep, come back. But the great thing is that now we've got those brand shops, you can shop all the time. So you don't need to, you know, wait for them to come back in a couple of weeks' time. You can shop those products all the time and other products that you don't see on the shows, which is really cool. Right, so I've now got my double layer. So you saw I took the backing off the first layer and then stuck the other one on. I always do that just because sticking onto plastic isn't really a good idea, especially if you're going to put them on a mantelpiece or over where a radiator is and it dries out. So you want to get sticky on sticky. And then again, I'm just going to put a little bit of this all the way down here, along here, and up to the top. So, and then I'll go and show you how we made this frame, because it's super easy. And then all we're going to do is line this up. So another reason why I've put wet glue on, because then I've got a little bit of wiggle room to get it all lined up, because I need those steps to line up. Otherwise, it's going to look like it's out of focus. And we don't want that. We don't want a fuzzy image, do we? That's definitely not what we want. Right, so I've now got, let me just move that over a little bit more. There we are. And I'm not worrying about this bit because we're going to cover it up. Because what we're going to do now, when I've shown you how to align, is we're going to create a frame from some of the reflections. Okay, so we're going to create a frame. So let's go over to Scan and Cut. And then I can show you how we do the frame, first of all. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how to do that decorative frame. So when I take this off now, I've got these two that are still intact with the rectangle. So when I'm next ready to use these two, I can still do that alignment process, which is great. And then I've also got all my little pieces cut out. So look how beautiful these are. And it's just such a joy. I love it. I love working with the Scan and Cut and Minecraft Studio. You know, that's been an absolute eye-opener to me. I just don't have enough time to do it in depth at the moment, but I am going to set myself a little goal that by the end of this year, I'll know it inside out, and I'll just do a little bit at a time. And then look, you've got all these fabulous little images, but facing in the opposite direction. So now you can start to create these swags and wreaths with it as well, which is lovely. Right, so I'm going to pop those over there. I'm going to show you how to do the oval inside the rectangle first, and then we'll go on to the frame afterwards. Right, so that can go away for now. Right, so I have a book under here somewhere with all my little measurements in. So the rectangle, you can either do one of two things. You can go to the reflection, send it into canvas, ungroup it and use that rectangle, or you can just make one. So if we go into patterns and into our basic shapes and choose the square, because we can, this button here separates the height from the width. So when we click on that, I can then make the height 152, because that's the height of the rectangle that I want, and also 107 wide. Now you can't do that with a piece of metal, but you can do it with your Scan and Cut. So I'm going to set that onto the mat. So that's my rectangle. I'm going to add, and I'm going to go back into my patterns, back into the basic shapes, and I'm just going to choose a circle, right? Because we can stretch it again. So separate the height and the width, which is called unlock aspect ratio. Just press the button, see what it does. I'm going to make that 126 high. Ooh, it's a bit of a game of Jenga, this. It's like when you're trying to fill up your petrol tank and you're trying to get to just 20 pounds. And then also 84 wide. I don't have to do that anymore because now my car's electric. Still haven't named her. I know I'm terrible, I can't make a decision. We're going to press set. All right, so I've now got my oval and I've got my rectangle. I want to put that bang in the middle of that. So we're editing it, we're changing it. So we go to edit and we're editing the object. All right, so first thing we're going to do is one red box means that one shape is selected. 3 red box means you're multiple selecting. So we're going to multiple select everything on the mat, press OK, go to your directional arrow buttons because you're moving the shapes, and your alignment function at the top, and we're going to align it centrally vertically and centrally horizontally. Press OK, and that's your frame ready to go. Okay, so super, super simple. Tap that screen to release those shapes, and I want to just use the oval now. So you cut that out then. So scan in your picture, position that over, group it together, position that over the top, just like you do with your reflection, but without that. guide rectangle because you can see it, right? So if I scanned in the scene now, you'd be able to position that right over the top, which is fabulous. What I want to do for the next bit, which is this bit, and I know it's split and it's just the way it is, it's because it's a little bit of a different technique than we used to. We're going to use the reflection cuts, just the outlines, okay? And we're going to weld them together. So there's a little bit of a process that you have to do, and I'm going to talk you through the process as we go because that will help you understand your scan and cut more. So let's bring that oval over here because we're going to use that, and then we're going to put that rectangle in the bin. I just wanted to show you that bit. So what I want to do now is add, and I want to add in the artwork from the SVG files. So I'm going to go into climbing rows. I'm going to go to the reflection cuts. I'm going to go to the original, and I'm going to go to the reflection itself, okay? And what we want to do now is just pick out certain little bits. So we're going to press OK. I'm going to get rid of the rectangle first of all, because right now that rectangle is sat on top of those shapes that are underneath it, okay? It doesn't see it the way that we see it. It sees those roses sat underneath that rectangle. So if I try and get to one of those now, look, I can't because the rectangle's on top. So we're going to edit and we're going to get rid of that rectangle, which means then that we can access that piece there. That's all I need. I don't need anything else from there. I'm going to go to Object, Edit, and rotate it 90 degrees so it's the right way up. And then I'm also going to get rid of all these. So select one of the pieces you don't want to keep, press OK twice, then multiple select part of the mat this time. So part of the mat, drag over there. We're going to click OK. That's going to highlight all those extra bits that I don't need, and we're going to put those in the bin, okay? Then I've got this piece. I'm going to duplicate this, so I've got two. So going back into editing the object, this is your duplicate box. So we're going to plus, and we're going to add another one. And while we're there, we're going to flip it because remember, we've got a reverse reflection. So one of those is going to go on one side and one of those is going to go on the other side. Before we do that, what I'm going to do is duplicate that oval, okay? Because I'm going to need another one at the end of this. So we're going to duplicate that. So we've got two, like so. And then I'm going to move that out of the way over there, right? So I'm going to do this next little bit and then I'm going to run down the counter because I need to tell you because people are coming in all the time. So I'm going to just nudge that oval over. So I'm going to move it over. So I've got as much of the oval as I can. And then this part here, this climbing rose, is then just going to nestle around the outside edge. Okay, I'm going to move it down a little bit so it hits the top of that oval like that. And then I'm going to bring the next one in and I'm going to drag this over here as well. Now, I'm not worried about getting this bang on symmetrical. As long as it's there or thereabouts, I'm all right with that. So what I need to do now is weld those two together, okay? Now, before we weld it, we have to go into Canvas Workspace and divide. Well, let me just try it, see if it will. It might weld, it might not. You've always got to test it, really. So multiple select part of the mat. Let's drag over. No, that's Zoom, Melanie. Wrong one, love. Right, okay. Multiple select part of the mat, drag over that oval that we don't need, and let's see what happens if we weld it now. And the reason, and then I'll explain why we might have needed to go into Canvas. We might not, but we might. Okay, so that's worked. Right, so you can see now I've got a little bit more of the oval on that side because there's more little pieces there than I have on this side. I'm not going to worry about that, to be honest. I think it's fine, okay? I'm not going to worry about this at all, but I am going to cancel it just so that I can show you. If you're not happy, just click on that piece and then nudge it back over like that, okay? And then we've got our oval. So I'm going to press OK, and then we're going to weld again. Now, the reason that I hesitated then is because that climbing rose has what we call little landlocked areas. So when I peeled it off the mats, there were bits that were left behind. If those haven't been punched through by a graphic designer, the back piece, sometimes it won't weld because all those little pieces have to be overlapping what you're welding to, which in this case is the oval. But on this occasion, it's fine, it's working. I'm not going to worry about it. So always try it first. If the detail disappears from the inside of the piece that you're welding onto the shape, then take it into Canvas Workspace and divide it. And I'll do that in a minute and just show you what I mean. So we're going to weld this together now because we're happy with this. So multiple select part of the mat, drag over here, press OK, and again, go back into editing the object and weld it. And that then gives me that frame. Okay, so now that's something a little bit different. Now the next thing you're going to do is make this oval slightly smaller. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to create a, let's do 2.5 millimeters should do it, I think, inward, hence the negative because it's going smaller, offset line. It will always keep the original selected, so then I'm going to put it in a bin and press OK. Now I'm going to put that bang in the middle of there. Okay, so we're going to multiple select everything on the mat this time, press OK, directional arrow buttons because you're moving it. That will get you to your alignment function at the top, and again we align it centrally vertically, centrally horizontally, so it moves. Go on, off you pop, move. No, it's not having it. All right, so we tap the screen, get on that oval, we can nudge that up slightly. And sometimes you get that with some shapes. Sometimes they work perfectly. Sometimes you just have to play around with them. Now, when I group this together, let's do that. Then you can see. So multiple select everything on the mat, press OK, go to Object, Edit, and group it. That oval is now going to cut through some of that frame, which is why you end up with it cut. But I wasn't bothered about that because I wanted to show you how to use your reflections in a completely different way. So welding it to a shape, and you end up with this lovely frame. Now I also welded Allen onto the front as well, but it's up to you how many different pieces you weld on. So you can see where that oval's cut through those roses, but you're not even going to notice that because we're going to take those roses. So we've got our reverse reflection, which can go there, and you've got your regular reflection, which comes on this side. And then we've got Henry that's going to go in there. So we're going to build up this frame. Just before I do that, I'm going to do a quick recap, give you a break to take in all that information, because I know it's a lot of words. But we do have over 13 hours worth of free education on YouTube for you with the scan and cut. So go and check that out. Right, so let's do a quick recap. So die-wise, if you want the dies by themselves, they are all available individually, but you can also buy them as a bundle. So Shop Rose will get you all of these dies. So your garden gate with all your little layers and your image artwork as well, that's also available. You then also get your Love 'em or Leaf 'em, which I think is just a brilliant name. I think that's hilarious. 6 die cuts in that one. You're then also going to get your Allen. Can you imagine? I love that. I love it when people call their dogs by real human names. Alan, come on. Imagine that. I think that's brilliant. As long as you don't have a name called Alan, that would be a bit confusing. So you've got this fabulous little character here who lives in this little hamlet with all his friends, the little geese and the ducks and all the little families he's met along the way. He's been there quite a long time. He's quite old now, is Alan, but all the neighbours know him and love him and they all feed him, which is why he's a little bit chunky, but I love that. Then we've got this groundwork one, You Rock, and these are absolutely invaluable. They're a place for things to sit. They're a foreground, a midground, a background, snip into them, all those different things that you can do with your dies. This one, absolutely love this. This is your climbing rose. So it doesn't matter which way you use it, whether you use it vertically, whether you use it in landscape. You've got all these little elements. And if you're using these with SVG files, you can also foil. All right, so you can use your foil pen and foil using your detailed designs. And then last but by no means least, I mean, if you make little cards, how beautiful is that? Even that on a tag is just lovely. So that's all your dies. Shop Rose, $69.99. If you want the Minecraft Studio artwork added into that, and I would highly recommend this because you get all the different colorways and you get the scenes in here as well and all your reflections. So if you want the dies and Minecraft Studio together, it's shop bundle, it's $75.99. You've got a £9.94 saving on a brand new launch, which is super. So I'm going to whiz through these and we can finish that demo. So you've got all your digi-stamps. So lots of different digi-stamps. Remember, you've got all of these different ones. Stephanie was saying this morning, you normally pay $14.99 for an A5 stamp set. So you're way over there with all the stamps that are on there. And I love doing this and then colouring it in. It's really great with the kids as well because they create their own pictures and then they get to colour them. This is all your artwork. So all your reflections, artwork. This is for your dies, remember. And you've got your other ones in there with Alan and you rock. You've then got your scenes, which are lovely. I love these scenes. I think they're just fabulous. We do them in A4 landscape and portrait and A5 landscape and portrait for you. So you get those as well. Different scenes in here with that white picket fence. I mean, it is just picturesque, isn't it? You imagine being somewhere in the Cotswolds, sunny day, busy pub in the middle of the village, and then all of these lovely white picket fences with these beautiful gardens. And Alan just trotting around like he owns the place, because he kind of does. Then you've also got your colour-picked backgrounds. So no longer thinking, oh, that'll do. Colour match perfectly, because we use the colour picker. You've then also got all your scene building elements. So your pots, your roses, and then the roses in the pots. You've then got all of these elements broken down. So the archway with the lamp and the foliage, the archway with the gate, and then the archway completely blank by itself, which is great. Then you've also got your flutterbys in here, your climbing roses, your butterflies. And then also you're going to get all of this lot and all of that lot included in that shop bundle, and it's $75.99. If you want the Micro Studio by itself, it's Shop MCS and it's $9.99. Now, SVG wise, if we go down here, I can show you this. You're going to get all of the dies that I've just shown you, but as digital files. So no postage, instant, first of all. You then get them in 3 different sizes and the reverse as well. You then get all the detail line designs, so what would have been the die file, so you can draw them, foil them, emboss them. You get the matte layer dies, so you can create apertures, so you can cut that aperture into the card and have Alan bursting through the front, which would be a lot of fun. Then you've got all your different colourways and your decoupage layers as well. If you want SVGs, shop SVG, it's $17.99. This is where I say to you, invest in the machine at the beginning, and then the money that you save long term builds really quickly. And before you know it, you've paid off that machine with what you're saving. Right, so let's carry on now building up this project. So I've got my 3 layers going on in the inside. And now what I'm going to do is just put some glue onto here. Get off, stuck. Right, so I'm going to start at the bottom like this, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Come on, glue. I've literally just debunged you half an hour before we came on. Now this it doesn't get deep into there. It doesn't block right into the nozzle. So a little bit of tweezers or a little pin, it just forms a little skin over the top. And it's my fault because I always forget to put the lids on. Always. Shocking. I tell you, I'm really bad. So I'm going to go in here and we're just going to put the glue on here just because it's easier to handle. So then all we need to do is take that reflection and put it on the top. Okay, so I've got one there. So let's get that. And because I haven't used the matte layers, I've got it exactly the same size. It will just fit perfectly on top. Or if you wanted to, you could create a little drop shadow and see the craft card coming through, or whatever colour card you decide to use. So it's a really lovely way. But I wanted to show you something a little bit different. Instead of just using the reflection files for cutting the reflections, which is brilliant, you can also use them to weld onto a shape. I mean, how lovely does that look? That on a scrapbook page, completely independent of the rest of the collection, just looks lovely. So same thing again on this side. And I'm having to check on the time. Sophie, you're going to have to give me a 2-minute warning, love, please. Okay, because I'll just carry on doing this all day. And I can't, because you'll all turn up for festival next week and you won't have any stuff to craft with, because I've got to get all that cut today. So yeah, it's a busy, busy week here at Highlight Crafts. So I'm going to pop this onto here so I can see where that leaf design goes, like so, and that's just going to work its way up. And I'm not worrying if you see a bit of the craft card behind it, because I'm rushing a bit, because I quite like that. Just brings that organic feel to it as well. So I'm going to pop that onto there, like so. And then we've got Alan, and Alan is bursting through. So you can see here and here are where his paws go. So it looks like he's bursting through the oval. So let's stick this onto here first of all. So we can pop that on there. I'm just going to put this on flat because I don't think it needs any more depth. It's quite nice though with a bit more. Oh no, just stick it flat, Melanie. Just do it, love. Stop talking about it. Just do it. I'm talking to me, not you, just so that you know. I get bored of my indecision. I'm not good at making decisions, which is why my car still hasn't got a name. And I need a name for her because she is fabulous. Right, so I'm going to pop my frame on there. So that didn't exist, okay? You haven't. Oh, you're getting very warm, aren't you? Yeah. Bless you. Whew. Amber's having a little personal summer. Too young for those yet, kid. Right, now look, so he's going to burst through. So I'm going to tuck his back paws behind now and get rid of that back paw like that. So it now looks like he's running through the archway, through that frame, which I think is super cute. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on here. Don't need much of that glue. If you've just watched Mark from Silvar Designs and Pinflair, we're welcoming him to the back into the fold again because he's coming back to us every week, which is lovely, or every couple of weeks. He's also doing some MDF for us, which I'm very excited about. Very excited about. So we've got him bursting through the front now. And then I'm just going to put some pots. But before I do that, I'm going to mat and layer it. Now, if I just put him, so this is one of the backgrounds that I've printed out and cut down. If I just put him on there, it all kind of sinks into itself. And I want you to see his face as the first thing that you see when you look at this card. So by matting it on white, that will make you see the white that's in his fur there. And it also separates this layer from this layer. So let's add some glue onto the back of here. Again, I'm just going to keep this flat. So a little bit of glue. You don't need any more than that. If you're using a lot of glue, it's because your glue's got too much water in. So the bookbinding glue from Pinflair is fabulous, I have to say. It goes everywhere with me. And I get a little bit panicky if I'm down to my last bottle. So I always have it in stock. Now that white just lifts it and separates it completely. So we don't need any foam tape. Now we've got enough depth in that project. And we're just going to go in, add a little bit more of that glue, centralise it if you want to. You don't have to put it in the centre. You can have it a little bit offset if that's what you want. But then a white card blank will bring all that together. Because otherwise that white layer by itself now is like, stands out a bit too much. As soon as you pop it onto a white card blank, look how fabulous that looks. So a small image you can start to make bigger by having those Micro Studio files with those scenes on. And you could do all this digitally if you wanted to, which is super. I love that. I love the fact that you can do that. It's always blown my mind when I've sat at home and watched Diane doing Micro Studio way, way, way back. And you look at it and you think that's got to be dimensional. And it's not. It's really clever. Right, let's add in some of these pots now. So now I can bring these pots down to here. So let's get a bit of our glue gel now. And let's add a little bit of shape into this. Now, because I created a plug in the end, I just need to get rid of that little plug before I can get to the glue. So we're going to have a little pot there, and we'll have another pot. We've got 2 minutes. 2 minutes! I'm like, no, where's this hour gone? They seem to go quicker when I'm on my own as well than they do when I'm with somebody. That's no good, is it? And then we'll have a little butterfly on here as well. So we'll pop a little butterfly just fluttering in from the side. So we'll pop that on there like that. So a little butterfly there, and we'll have another one on the other side. So we'll find another little yellow one. Remember, you've got your reverse reflections as well, so you can create symmetry if you want to. And then that one can just be landing on there. And I need one more in yellow just at the top. I'm just going to tuck. It's a bit big, that one. I've got any little ones? Oh, I haven't. I've got a blue one there. Blue. I don't want blue. That's going to not work. Cream. We'll use this one. Honestly, indecisive. Told you. Shocking. Shocking. And then we're going to pop that one in there. And that, my lovely friends, is your card. All made on the Scan and Cut. All the layers cut on the Scan and Cut. The actual rose frame designed using the shapes in the machine's memory. And a really, really, really cool little project. So I hope you've learned stuff, because that's what I like. I like to teach you stuff and new different things. And as I come up with something, I like to share it. I think I'll lose up next with Amanda. So if you're ready for chaos, that'll be the show for you. And I will be back with Stash Busters tonight at 6 o'clock with some fabulous deals, myself and David tonight. So stay tuned, because there's another show coming right up next, which is great. And then the rest of the week, we've all got some fabulous stuff too. And if you're coming to festival, I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday, teaching scan and cut. We're going to make this lantern that I've designed, and I've cut all the pieces out for you, so it's not hard work. Brilliant. Right, I will see you back here at 6 o'clock. Stay tuned for Lou and Amanda next. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.